I'm 85 years old, and what I'm about to tell you may be difficult to hear. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's true. Most of what you've been taught about aging, success, and how life is supposed to work is deeply flawed. And the most painful part? The people who were meant to prepare you for this, parents, teachers, society, either didn't understand it themselves or were too afraid to say it out loud. For most of my life, I believed the same things you probably believe right now. I followed the rules, I did what was expected, I chased the milestones I was told would matter, and for a long time I was convinced I was doing everything right. By the time I was in my early 50s, I had what most people call a good life, a stable career, a home, financial security, respect from others. From the outside, it looked like success. I thought I had life figured out. Then at 52, everything stopped. In a single moment, the story I had been telling myself for decades collapsed. Over the 33 years since then, my understanding of life, time, and meaning has completely changed. But before I explain how, you need to understand why I'm saying this now. I'm not here to sound wise. I'm not here to inspire admiration. I'm here because at 85, time is no longer theoretical. It's visible, it's measurable, and there are things you deserve to hear before you run out of chances to hear them. At 52, I suffered what doctors clinically referred to as a cardiac event. That's a polite way of saying my heart nearly gave up on me. I was sitting in a conference room, listening to another conversation about quarterly numbers, when the world suddenly felt unreal. My vision blurred, my chest tightened, and then, nothing. I woke up in a hospital bed with wires attached to my body and my wife sitting quietly in the corner, trying not to cry. The doctor told me I was lucky. I had just come face to face with my own mortality, and lying there with no distractions and nowhere to run, I realized something that terrified me far more than the heart attack itself. I hadn't actually been living. I had been existing on autopilot, moving from one obligation to the next, chasing approval, meeting expectations, delaying the things that mattered while convincing myself there would always be time later. And I asked myself a question that still echoes in my head today. If I had died right then, what would my life have meant? A house, savings, job titles, accomplishments that would fade faster than I wanted to admit. None of it reflected who I was or who I wanted to be. The most dangerous lie we tell ourselves is simple. I have time. I'll do it later. I'll slow down later. I'll live fully later. I've heard that lie from people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and beyond. When I make more money, when I get promoted, when the kids are older, when I retire, let me save you decades of regret. That moment almost never comes because the finish line keeps moving. Every achievement creates a new target. Every promotion brings more pressure. Every gain demands more sacrifice. You keep chasing something just out of reach, and one day you realize the years are gone. I spent 30 years climbing a ladder only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall. And time doesn't let you climb back down and start over. Here's a truth no one tells you early enough. Success by itself is an empty goal. I say that as someone who achieved it. I reached the positions I wanted. I earned recognition, and each victory felt incredible for about a day or two. Then the feeling vanished. I needed the next achievement, the next validation. It's a cycle that never satisfies. I lost a close friend a few years ago. He worked non-stop his entire life, 70-hour weeks, built a company worth millions, kept postponing rest, travel, connection. He always said he'd slow down next year. Next year never came. At his funeral, his son stood up and said, "My father was successful, but I barely knew him." That sentence should scare you, because when people reach the end of life, they don't regret failing. They regret postponing, the trips they never took, the calls they didn't make, the love they assumed could wait. I don't lie awake thinking about missed business opportunities. What keeps me awake are the moments I never created, the relationships I neglected, the times I chose work over presence. You don't have unlimited time with the people you love. I learned that when my father died suddenly. I always believed there would be another chance to talk, to fix things, to connect. There wasn't. My regrets aren't dramatic, they're quiet. missed Sundays, unmade phone calls, small moments that never came back. After my heart attack, I changed how I lived. I stepped back from what drained me. I stopped saying yes to things that didn't matter. And I finally said yes to the life I had been postponing. In the last 33 years, I've learned more about life than in the first 52 combined. And the truth is painfully simple. Meaning comes from people, presence, and experience, not accumulation. Time with those you love, work that feels honest, living moments instead of collecting things. At 85, I wake up every day fully aware that time is borrowed. Most people don't realize this until it's unavoidable. They assume tomorrow is guaranteed. It isn't. I watch younger generations rushing, stressed, chasing validation the same way I once did. I try to warn them, but understanding usually arrives only after loss. That's why I'm saying this now. Maybe not everyone will listen, but maybe someone will. You still have a choice. You can keep delaying the call, postponing the trip, telling yourself you'll live fully later. Or you can wake up today and start living like your time actually matters. Because it does. If I could speak to my younger self, I'd say this. Stop trying to impress people who won't matter in the end. Protect your health. Don't delay joy. Don't wait for permission. Call the people you love. Say no to what drains you. Say yes to what makes you feel alive. Start now, not someday, because someday isn't a real day. Life will always be messy, inconvenient, and imperfect. Waiting doesn't make it better. It only makes it shorter. I don't know how much time I have left, but I know this. These later years have been the most meaningful of my life. Not because I earned more, but because I finally lived intentionally. When you understand that time is limited, everything becomes clearer. You stop wasting energy. You stop postponing happiness. You start choosing deliberately. You're reading this right now. That means you still have time. Don't spend decades learning what could change your life today, because the life you're waiting to live needs to start now.